for me is that he does marketing for like a lot of coaches and like for the Air Force and like stuff like that. So he helps them learn how to create content and like find people on social media that way. And so he's really good at it. And so we met Megan. Tia, I wanted so Dallin, Tia is thinking about joining ZYIA, but she is still deciding. So, but I thought she could still come on this call today and just kind of meet the
Actually
team.
decided.
Oh,
So I would like to join your team.
that's
So
exciting.
I've been thinking about it all day. It's been on my mind.
Okay, awesome. We will work on that after the call, but stay on
Sounds good.
and learn stuff because this will be really important for starting out. Um,
Awesome.
and so, yeah, if you guys have questions during the call, jump in the chat or like unmute yourself. And I'm going to let Dallin go from here. I'm going to go check on, I'm going to take my computer inside, but I'm going to mute myself just in case it's kind of loud. And he's in his office so that he doesn't have any distractions. And so he can go ahead and get started.
Cool. Well, I am, and Haley, like as much as you can, let's have you still be on here as much as possible. But the style of like kind of training is I am not a death by PowerPoint like trainer or coach by any means. But like Haley said, we just to get a little background into like me, I've been doing sales and marketing for the last 10 years. And over that time, I've learned a lot and worked with a lot of different types of brands. But yeah, the most recent like training style of, types of people I've been working with are United States Air Force. So they are literally recruiting, right? Like they're recruiting young people to join the Air Force, and they come into recruiting in the Air Force when they don't know really anything about social media at all. Like most of these guys are like Air Force, like they're like, mechanics or engineers, and now they have to learn social media to be able to do their job. And so what I've learned is like through that principle of like what we're going to be talking about today is to be able to take what you have right now and how do we take your story and your message and get people to want to like join your team and also like sell like clothes in the process, right? But all of that is all like foundational, like going back one more step is, well, how do we actually like do that without, just copying what everybody else is doing or getting frustrated that like, hey, I look at all these people being so successful, like, why not me, right? Like, how can I do what they're doing, right? And so I'd like to just kind of start, and I would love to like whoever wants to go first. And maybe I'll just pick on Haley. Haley, so like, what, like, why did you join ZYIA? Like, right out of the gate, what made you want to join ZYIA?
So I joined ZYIA because I worked for a long time and before I had this one, and I like felt really fulfilled when I was at work, and I like got a lot of compliments, and I had that was for me. I had interaction with people, and ever since like the last couple of years, I kind of felt that piece was missing, and I would try to fill it with like going to the gym or like just talking to people at school pickup and stuff like that. But when like COVID hit, I was like I started to feel like almost depressed some days because I was just like I had no interaction with anyone. I had nothing that was for me. The days were monotonous and you couldn't do anything. And I had seen Lindsay do ZYIA for a long time, and I had a couple other friends that did ZYIA through other people, and it seemed like they had like a great network of people to talk to and to interact with. And I was like, man, I really want that. And I really want to buy workout clothes and not feel like guilty about it. Like I love working out is the one thing I felt like I could control in my life. And I was like, and I want to look cute in it. I mean, I wore leggings all the time. And so I was like, that would be awesome. That's like one thing I could sell. I never really wanted to do any type of direct sales company. Like, I don't think I could have seen myself selling shampoo or makeup or anything like that. But this is something I was like, I could do that. And I would love to have like a community of people there and do something for me. And it really has brought me that. Like it's like some days it's hard because I'm trying to juggle still like being a mom and doing it. And but then like when I have the successes or when I'm just talking to people, friends that I've met through here that I wouldn't have had any other way, I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Like this is my thing. It's for me. I love these clothes and yeah, that's my why.
Cool. Love it. Well, I think that there is like, at least I know Haley really well, and she wasn't looking to make money on this. She just wanted to break even. And so she's like, so if I can make $3,000, I could spend $3,000 on clothes, right? So yeah, so no, and I saw Haley too, like in this process because like, yeah, I saw that she was looking for something to be fulfilled, and she was trying to find kind of what that next thing was. And so, um, you know, I said, yeah, try it. Like, I don't want it, like, I want to support you in it and go for it. And I think direct like sales is like one of the best ways to grow um, a business, because it's like, if you want to run a business, you want to make money on the side. Well, what's so amazing about like direct sales, and then even ZYIA is, again, it's like, first off, ZYIA is like clothes that anybody can, like, everybody needs to buy clothes, right? And a lot of people want to be comfortable, obviously. So like ZYIA clothes just generally is like awesome, right? Um, and then like on top of that is like they basically hand you the business model, and all you have to do is market yourself. And it's like, and that's why we're on this call, is to figure out, well, how do we do that more effectively, so we don't feel like we're spinning our wheels and we get frustrated, right? So we want to make sure that we have an awesome strategy to put together. And so on today's call and in future like marketing calls, I'm sure we're going to be doing, a lot more of these going forward. But really what we want to do is we want to like step back and look at like, how do we look at like what all these other people doing on social media and find ways to actually make money at our job and like reach people that we couldn't reach otherwise if we didn't have a strategy in place. And so I want to help you develop a system that is comfortable. You don't have to change anything about who you are and like really what you're doing. It's all about just creating a system that works for you and understanding some really basic like marketing principles. So having said that, let's go to Megan. Why don't you share with me real quick, just like your why? Like, how long have you been doing ZYIA?
Just over a month now. I think
Okay.
around a month, 2 months, something like that. So, I guess I did it because I'm not gonna lie, I really wanted that 25% discount on clothes. But then it's one of those two. I thought, if I could just break even, I could make it work, because then I can justify spending the money on the workout clothes that I don't necessarily need but really wanted. And so far it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. Yeah, and part of it, I guess, so I have a full-time job outside of this, but with COVID, I was a traveling salesperson, I guess, for a company, and with that, they've totally knocked out our traveling for right now. So I was kind of getting bored. So I guess I was looking for something else to do kind of to fill that time as well, and thought it'd be worth a shot because I really like athletic wear as well. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have a great reason why, I guess, but yeah.
So if you were to like say like where do you want to be in 90 days from now? Like, is this something that's like, well, I'm just kind of happy, like, with like, buying clothes and doing that? Or would you really want to would you want to build more of a team and make some like money, like residual every month from this? Like, what is your 90 days? If you were to say, yes, if I were to like see it perfectly kind of come together, what would it look like for you? Would it be an extra $1,000 a month? Like, what would that look like for you?
That would be great, I guess, would be if I could at least get one rep underneath me, I think, and help that way. That's kind of my goal for this month, was to just get a rep. This month has kind of been a struggle compared to the last month for me. I've had some people kind of interested, but then they decide, nah, not at this time. So I guess I'm better at short-term goals
Yeah.
setting like that. So I've been trying to focus on that for 90 days. I don't know. It'd be nice to have a good income, but at the same time, I don't know. It's hard. Sorry.
No, that's great.
Wait, can I ask you a question? Lucy said she's trying to get on, but the link isn't working. Can she still get on if we've already started?
Yeah, it should be open.
Maybe it's her computer. She said the browser isn't supported or something. So maybe she just need to go in a different browser.
Ask her what browser she's using.
Okay, yeah, go back and I'll.
Awesome. All right. And then Tia, you aren't officially like,
No, I'm not
basically
officially.
Tell us kind of like what has like drawn you to wanting to join ZYIA.
So I used to work. We lived in California, and we recently moved to Idaho in April. My husband works full-time as a truck driver for CRE England and for Family Dollar. So he works, and I'm a full-time stay-at-home mom. This is the first time being home with my son, and I'm getting a little bored.
Yeah.
I'm be honest, I'm getting a little bored. I've always worked, and I just thought it would be something fun to do while my husband's away, and when my kid's sleeping, I could do something. But honestly, the clothes, I think they're so comfy, and why not share them with people? It seems like a fun thing. So that's why I want to do it.
Cool. Well, awesome. Well, what I love about what I'm hearing like consistently is like there's something like I believe that like as a principle of like marketing from my perspective is like literally like it's psychology. It's just understanding like people and how we all work, right? And when it really comes down to it, we all want to we want to be healthier. We want to make more money and have better relationships, right? Like if we were to break down everything like down to its like core, those three things really are at the center of all marketing and all advertising. Is we want to have better health, better relationships, and wealth, right? Like those are the three things. And so yeah, that's awesome. So I love kind of hearing that, because we're all looking for something to fill that time, and that also that to strengthen, feel more successful and to feel like we have something to look forward to. So it looks like we had someone else join us. Is that Lucy?
Yep, I got on.
Awesome. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So we're still just kind of getting things rolling here. I was just asking everybody kind of like, why ZYIA? Like what got you started? Why did you join ZYIA? Just a quick brief intro of why.
Really, if I'm being totally honest, just because I thought the clothing was cute.
Awesome.
And I wanted, I'm a sucker for I don't know, thought I would try and get me some cheaper, cute, free clothes. So far that's not happened because I've just spent a lot of money myself instead. So it kind of backfired on me in that respect. I've just spent buttloads of money now, but that's okay.
Awesome. Well, I know firsthand, better than most because I live with Haley. So I know what came out of our bank account the first month. So I'm just kidding. But I also know what she made too, and she's doing awesome. So well, cool guys. Well, I'm excited. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to dive into a little bit of training. And like I said, we'll have some follow-up calls as well. Typically when I do training for United States Air Force, or if I'm training like private clients or coaches or doing any type of our masterminds or things like that we offer, or at our events, typically like we're looking at 12 weeks of training, or 8 weeks, or 3 full entire days of just going through these kind of marketing materials. So what we'll do is, depending on how Haley wants to coordinate all this, but I'm just thinking that we could do these pretty regularly and just kind of get through some stuff, and all these will be recorded. And so you can always go back and like look at this training. Just a little FYI, just so you know, and so that if you could also just be respectful of this, but I charge typically 5 to 10 grand, sometimes 25 grand for the training that I'm doing with you guys. So just be respectful of that, and like don't just like send everything everywhere. That would be great. It is trademarked and everything else on like the methodologies and copyrighted. So just want to make sure that you know, we keep everything in-house so that I can afford to pay for all of Haley's extra clothes that she buys. So there we go. So I just want to talk about, I'm going to dive into really like high level marketing so we can kind of understand the bigger picture. And really where all of this is going is after we have these like foundations in place, then the questions that always happen are, I don't know what to put on social media. What do I put in my Facebook group? Like, what do I say? How do I say it? Like, how often should I say it? Is it too much? How long should my videos be? Like, I don't know about you guys, but those are the questions that I typically get. Have any of you had any of those questions come up before, or maybe you've experienced? You can drop into the chat, or yeah, just, you know, basically your guys' smiles indicate that yes, like you've definitely experienced that. And so as we were developing the training for United States Air Force, it was kind of cool because we came across some really cool like people in history, and I just was learning a lot about the Air Force. And one of the things that came up in this was I came across this guy by the name of John Boyd, and he said that, you know, he who can handle the quickest rate of change survives. And this is like the craziest example because John Boyd was like a fighter pilot, and so we're talking like life or death like situations. It's not just like whether we, you know, oh, I forgot to post today, or oh, I should probably do more to, you know, to sell more like ZYIA. It's like literally life or death is what's, you know, on the line here. And so as he was, you know, going through this, and he started to see that there needed to be something to help help other pilots be able to survive in these sort of combat situations, he developed this thing called the OODA loop. And essentially what it was is he was so fascinated by this question of how do individuals and organizations win in an uncertain environment. And so as he was going through this like process of creating this, he thought to himself, well, okay, individuals, organizations, like how do we like manage these really uncertain environments and like be able to survive? And if we think about social media, like in general, like social media changes like on a daily basis. Like the algorithms like are constantly changing. Features are changing. I mean, how many of you have gotten used to the new Facebook like so far, right? It's just like, maybe some of you have been using it or not, but it's like, even just this last like couple of weeks, like so many different things have been happening on the platform that are making things very, very different. And so with that comes algorithm changes, comes with that lots of different things down the line. And so because of that, we have to develop a way of thinking around our content and thinking around the way that we run our business. And plain and simple, in these situations, he would say, okay, I'm going to observe my like surroundings, right? I'm kind of observing what's going on. If I see that, you know, somebody's coming in on me, if I'm flying in this plane, well, I'm going to orient myself, and I'm going to move, I'm going to make that decision. I'm going to take action. And this is literally happening for a fighter pilot, you know, in like a split second. They have to make these kind of decisions. So they're taught, you know, the OODA loop and these theories to help a fighter pilot make these split second decisions. And I have a buddy of mine who is a fighter pilot, And they still teach these theories today in the Air Force of teaching them how to navigate by using this theory. And so when it comes to marketing, the same kind of principles apply. We're going to be observing, like, okay, we created these posts, we did this stuff, and then we're going to orient ourselves. And we're going to say, well, that worked really, really well, right? When I talked about this, I got some better engagement, or if I did something at this time, that was really awesome. And now we're going to make that decision, and we're going to keep taking that consistent action with our marketing. So this is the actual like theory that he developed. Maybe if you guys have 6 hours, another night, we can go through all that. I'm just kidding. We'll just stick with this simple version of it and move on. So just to kind of set the stage as well, is that social media spending has been, like, advertising on the platform has been going up like massively. If we look at just from 2018 to 2020, 28.5% increase. That means the number of like businesses, advertisements, like all that kind of stuff is just flooding into the platform. And what that means is that because of the way that Facebook's algorithm works, the person and the companies who are real, they are authentic, and they don't look like an advertisement, typically are the companies who are going to stand out on the platform to the end user. Especially if we're talking like people who want to join ZYIA, or consumers who want to buy cute clothes and comfortable clothes. Like that is the audience, right? And so if it looks like an ad, what do we do on the, well, we just scroll through them, right? And it's like, gosh, that's annoying. And sometimes we see an ad and we're like, or we see a post and we're like, oh, that's awesome. And then it's like, oh, when I clicked on it, it went to this page. So that must have been an ad. That's the kind of like message, and that's the kind of like content we want to create, is content that can be avoided as an ad. We don't want to be flashy advertisements. We want to be real human beings on the platform, because Facebook's algorithm is designed in a way to create a user happiness and a user experience. And so everything when it comes to like social media marketing is understanding that Facebook just wants to put a smile on people's faces. And so if you watch videos of cats, what is Facebook going to show you? More cat videos, right? If you watch makeup tutorials on Facebook, then you're going to get shown tons of makeup tutorials, right? And that's just the way the platform works. So we want to create content on the platform that people enjoy. And so this takes us to this next concept that we've developed here at Divulge Marketing, where we call it high velocity marketing. And how many of you have heard of the term like minimalism? Have you guys ever heard of that? Like Haley has? So like minimalism, like in kind of like the sense of like having very few possessions, right? There's like the minimalist podcast, there's all this like minimalist movement, and it's even like, you know, obviously a style of just like really like, you know, bare bones, like furniture in your house type of thing, like straight up minimalism, essentialism. And what I've learned in marketing, working with, you know, 6-7 figure clients, working with the Air Force, working with lots of like clients on an individual basis, was that I started to notice like a trend in the people who were winning on social media and the people who were not winning on social media. And the people who win on social media are the people who move extremely fast. They let everything go except for the things that are not essential. So just for example, so a lot of companies or people who want to get really into their businesses and they really want to start creating content will sometimes step back and they'll be like, well, I have to I have to make sure it's just right. Like it has to be perfect. I have to maybe spend money on like video production, or I have to do this and that, or I have to say the perfect thing. So I'm going to like script it all out, right? How many of us have been kind of guilty of this? Like scripting and making sure everything is like just perfect. Haley, have you ever done that?
Yeah, I definitely have. Yeah. Down when you read this, make sure it's good.
Exactly. So like we are constantly like stopping ourselves from moving faster. High velocity, right? How many times can we get through like the OODA loop, right? How many times can we make these like, go back here. How many times can we like make that rotation? Observe, orient, decide, act. If we're observe, orient, okay, well, I'm gonna put the script together and, oh man, I don't know if I like that. Let me go back. I'm gonna go look over here. I'm gonna make, okay, so I'm gonna observe again. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. Oh no, I don't know, right? And we make this like constant like battle with ourselves of like, okay, what are we actually going to post, right? What are we going to do? And with high velocity marketing, the people who win on social media is the people that develop a speed, okay? Speed, not quality, is going to win the market every time on social media. The person who's consistently posting over and over and over and over and over again is the person who wins. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's like, well, what if it's like awful, like absolutely awful, like content? Well, what's great about high velocity marketing is that if you are going fast enough, then the quality will, because you'll be making so many OODA loops, right? That you'll learn so fast that every single time you do those videos, you'll get better, 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 and better, better, and better. So the quality will naturally increase, not because you sat down and you thought about it for 5 hours. The quality will increase because of the repetitions that you put in, right? I always tell people that if you want to get in better shape and you want to like, you really want to start getting into, you want to be healthier, you want to lose a certain amount of weight or whatever, do you go and buy like a nutrition book and a book on, programming your own workouts, and then sit down for the next 6 months and map it all out and plan this like one amazing workout? No, right? Like, and be like, man, this workout is going to crush it. I'm going to spend so much time on this. I'm going to like work out all day long and it's going to help me lose 20 pounds, right? Well, no. The same goes with creating video content. It's a consistent effort. We go to the gym every single day. We eat a certain type of thing every single day. And it's that speed and that consistency is what will help us win in terms of social media. And so every time we bring speed into the picture, we're always going to be learning faster, faster, and faster. And the more mistakes you can make and the more mess ups you do on your Facebook lives, guess what? Like, you can delete it, you can move on, right? You can delete it, you can move on. You try something, it doesn't work, it's a flop. Great, you learn from it, move on, right? Observe, orient, decide, and act. So, and I'm going to ask a question in just a second here. So while I'm going there, I want you to be thinking about it right now of like, what causes like fear, like what scares you about moving fast? Because I get scared to move fast at times as well. Like, this is not like, I'm not above this like at all. But like, I want you to think about that as I'm kind of going through this slide as we move into the next one. I'd love to hear from you. So high velocity marketing, if you're looking at all of the other, like, let's just say, for example, let's say your competitors are other like fitness clothes companies, okay? And you are like, if you're going at a really fast, high velocity, it's going to force them to react defensively to you, and which is going to make you the standard in the market. And so, meaning that while everybody is like here, right? We all start out here. The person who's making all these like rotations is moving further and further up the ladder. And so the people who are at the top, they're looking back. And so like even like the Lululemons and all these other like companies, if you can just show up to your people faster and more frequently than Lululemon and Athletica and any other like competitor out there, or other ZYIA reps, like for that matter, right? Like you'll win the market, because the hardest thing on social media is not necessarily like, a lot of people like are afraid to post too much. Well, the typical problem is that you won't show up nearly enough. And so posting more frequently is going to help you win online, right? 100%. Frequency, as much as you can possibly do, is what's going to help you win in your market, help you hit your goals, etc. And so let's just talk about this for just a second. When you first started ZYIA, or, Tia, like you're going to be starting ZYIA, and when you go to do that first post, and maybe you're a totally different animal than most people, but I remember when I first started doing posts on my like social media, and even at times like it's like a shaky hand here, and I'm just so nervous, right? Like of what to say, or like, what's going to happen, right? And so I'd love to hear from you guys, like what kind of like fears come up, or what came up when you did that first like post with ZYIA? Like what kind of comes up as you start to go and create and to share your content? We'll start with Haley, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. I think when I started, I was just nervous. Like, I mean, I think you just get nervous if people think like I was like, well, will anyone like even want to buy the clothes? Like, will they think I'm being fake or trying to push something that like isn't real? Because we've all heard like the stories like, oh, someone from high school reached out to me, like said, oh, how cute is your family? And I have something I want you to buy. And like, I really didn't want to be that person. Like, I didn't want to be the person sending cold messages or anything like that. Like, I wanted it to be genuine. And that's like, so yeah, I was just worried about people's perception of what they thought, which doesn't matter. Like, cause I was doing it for me, but yeah, I was scared that people would think I was fake or like selling out or something like that.
Yeah. %. Who else? Like, what other things like do you think like stop us from moving faster in our businesses? Or, I mean, like in anything, I really believe that with ZYIA, like there's so many really cool opportunities. Obviously, I've seen so many people firsthand, like just be extremely successful at ZYIA. But what do you think it is that like kind of stops us from moving faster? And this can just be in general, right? It doesn't even have to be like social media related. Like what stops us from moving?
So I have a question. This is Lucy. And I'm fairly new. I signed up the beginning of July, but July I was busy basically playing, so I didn't do anything. So I just hosted my first party, which was like a complete and utter failure, like beyond utter failure. Okay, not anyone responded. I think the only person that did pretty much respond was Haley. So, and I posted a lot of stuff. So like I look at that and go, yeah, like I don't even know where to go from there, because I feel like I did post a lot of stuff and I had not even anyone I would respond at all. And so it's like, yeah, so what am I supposed to learn from that? Like, and I only did 2 live videos for the week, but like, yeah, I'm not super comfortable with them, but I just got on and did it and didn't care.
Yep.
And yeah, so I'm like listening to you going, well, okay, so what do I do different? Because I really kind of don't know.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's a great question. So what's so interesting about this, Lucy, right? Yeah, Lucy.
Yeah.
What's so interesting is that, when I love my job. Like I love what I do, because every day I learn more about myself, and I have to like stretch myself, because social media is just like, obviously it's just an extension of, obviously it's real life, right? But sometimes we get this illusion that it's not real life, right? That it's like this totally like weird, like ecosystem, right? And
Mm-hmm.
what I discovered for me personally, and you know, maybe this will relate, but I remember when I first started my company about 3.5 years ago, and I remember going live on Facebook, and I just created, you know, I was creating so many freaking videos, right? And I was just like, and I was getting so frustrated because I would post on Facebook and I'd get like one like, and then
Me.
my wife, the same as you, Lucy, right? So it's my wife commenting
Right.
on my posts. Um, but then what's crazy is I kept with it, and I got more consistent and more consistent. And then it was like another month later that it was like every post I had 3 likes. I had Haley, my mom, and then my grandma. Like, really? Like, so cool, Dallin. Like, that's awesome, man. Like, so then, you know, and then things got really good. And then I got my dad involved, and I got, you know, like other family members, right? um, but you know, jokes aside, but like really, I still to this day, like, I don't get like great engagement on my own personal like Facebook posts. Okay. But what is absolutely insane to me that I do not understand is like the fact that I did those pieces of content consistently for months and months and months, and I was moving super fast, right? And I got better and I got better and better at it. And what is insane is when you get a text, when you get a message on Facebook, and it's the national marketing director of the United States Air Force messages me directly and says, "Hey, I've been watching your videos over the last 6 months, and I really think that you could help us out." Boom. Like, it absolutely changed everything for me, right? um, and that was the confirmation for me that consistently putting in that effort on the platform pays off every single time. And what we want to think about is our behavior on the platform. How many times have we joined a Facebook group or have seen a post? We're like, man, like, I like that. That was really cool. But I don't actually physically click like, or I don't actually comment on it. But I have thoughts and I have things going on. I'm like, I'm gonna go. I'll go visit that page again, right? Or I'll be part of a group, but I don't actually comment from time to time, right? And so what I want, like, a few things to remember is that, like, just because nobody is engaging doesn't mean they're not viewing and engaging outside of that post, right? The number of likes and the number of comments doesn't necessarily reflect the impact that you're making in it and how that will build over time. And the fact that, like, you had like a failed like party or whatever, like, hey, do you know how many product like things that I've tried and failed? Like, do you know how many names Divulge Academy has had like over the last couple of years, right? Like, literally, like, so many names, like Funnel Launch Summit and Black Box, and I mean, I could go on and on, right? So it's like, when those things like don't necessarily work out, the differences between, at least from the people that I see that I work with that have made it to those 7-figure marks in their business, right? Like, those people, they fail so fast, and they get really, really good at going so fast. They figure out what it is that makes something not work, and then they do the other things that make it work, right? So, you know, Lucy, I don't think there's like any like, hey, like, any like, oh yeah, here's the 5 things that you did wrong. I think that as we dive more into training and as we get into more of like some of these marketing things, I think that there's some really, really specific things that we could dive into. But I would say, like, for now, like, I would say that, like, don't overthink what that singular experience was, and just realize that you're probably just a few stories away with some of these content things I'll be talking about in other trainings from making and changing the whole way that whole thing ran, even with the same people in it. Okay.
Say something too.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say like, yeah, like my first two parties, I like got two people to sign up right after I like did my launch party to do a party, and like the first I did them separate, and they both like one was Down sister, so like I got a couple orders from like his family, and then the other one totally failed. And then I had a few weeks, and then I tried to get another host, and I had a few weeks before I got someone else to host. And then I did the party exactly the same, and it was an awesome party. Like it was Bethany, she's on the team, and like she sold like $1,600 and she signed up, and like it just kind of all depends. And I'm not saying your next party is going to be like a knockout. I think it all depends on the host a lot too and stuff like that. So I mean,
Yeah,
even
which I couldn't even get my host to post something. Like I was like, can you post? She had bought stuff for my party. I'm like, will you post something about you liking it or a picture? Yeah, sure. And then she still never even did. So
yeah,
I'm like, if I can't even get my host to even engage, then I guess I can't expect anyone else to.
threw a party with Katie last month that my person invited like 200 people and her person invited 5, and my party got 0 orders and hers got 5 orders. So it just kind of depends. And even if you take like Tia's been in my group since the beginning. I've loved having her comment on stuff. She actually bought stuff from another rep, not even from me.
Hey, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm not mad. But now she's been watching and stuff, and now she wants to sign up, which is great. But like she was just watching.
I love your posts, to be honest. I love everything you post. And I've known Haley for what, years? I've known you for years.
High school, so
Yeah. So I would rather go with you than the other person because she's really pushy, and I don't like people who are pushy. So I would rather be on your team.
Yeah. So yeah, you never know who's just watching, and it might just be a little bit,
Yeah. Does that help, Lucy?
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of don't know. Like, I guess I've backed off because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to post too much, and so I'm kind of in that phase of like I don't really know how often or what to be posting,
No,
so I don't know.
Great. Yeah, those are great questions. And like the idea like right out of the gate is that when we have those types of experiences on social media or when we post something that we kind of put our soul out there and it feels like, holy crap, like nobody showed any love towards it. It can be, we feel like we're being exposed or like we're doing something massively wrong, or maybe we shouldn't even be doing this altogether, right? Nobody wants to hear from me about this, right? And
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt.
exactly. What's crazy is like, I don't know if you guys all know this, but I work with trainer Lindsay as well. So do you guys know who trainer Lindsay is by chance? Some of you? But like
I know
she
Megan works with Lindsay. That's how I met Megan too. And maybe Gia and Lucy have seen some of my posts about Lindsay.
Yeah. So
I've seen your posts about her. Yeah.
Yeah. So Lindsay, like she is like, I mean, she has like almost 1 million followers on Facebook, right? We run all of her ads, we do all that stuff. But what's crazy is that like she still calls me some days and she's just like, like that just did not go the way I wanted it to, or like that post, or that was so weird. Like, why didn't nobody respond? And it's like what I'm saying is that like, regardless of whatever level you're at, right? Those are just the things that are always going to come to us, right? And what we always go back to is just like really like tapping into like why we're doing it, because what we want to do, and in this case, like, we want to be able to create a lifestyle for ourselves, but we also want to help other people. And for Haley, like Haley just felt like she wanted to feel like fulfilled, right? And she wanted to just be more active in doing something, right? It just felt like she was moving in a direction, right? And so what we kind of, what we'll talk about as we kind of get into some of this training is like, if you can get really clear on like what lights you up, like what gets you super, super excited, right? What are the life experiences? Like, where are the moments in your life where you broke down in tears? And maybe that was when you hosted your first party and it sucked, right? And it's like, holy crap, like those are the moments, those are the vulnerable moments in our life that when we share those with other people, because we're human, we relate on such a like an intimate level that when we start to create content around that, the leads and the sales naturally come. And for example, trainer Lindsay, when she first like, you know, was introduced to the training that I'm kind of walking you through right now, about a year ago, she was getting a client, you know, one client about every week in her like coaching business, right? And so she was getting one client a week and her business was like growing and it was great. But she was trying to figure out her marketing and taking it one step further. Well, she dove into like the storytelling formulas and I just approached her and I was like, hey, I think that if you were to do this, if you were to share your story, like let's tap into a story that when you were at the gym and you felt completely frustrated, or a time in your life where you're just like at your lowest of lows. And she's like, okay, like, and I said, what did you learn from it? Like what happened? And we just kind of reconstructed that story. And then I said, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to your car and I want you to tell that story. And then I want you to invite people to message you if they can relate to that story and want to learn more about working with you. She goes to her car, she does the post, within minutes, she starts getting messages, right? And within a few hours, she has over 100 messages. Within a couple more hours, the next morning, 200 messages, right? And so what she told me is she's like, I've never, like in years and years of doing this, I've never had that many people reach out to me. And she's like, it was because I was willing to be vulnerable and to share something and put myself out there, right? So for example, I'll pick on Haley here too. Like Haley, like, you know, Haley's story, not to put words in your mouth, Haley, but like Haley's story is like, she doesn't need to do this, right? Like she's not doing this because she like needs extra money to like, you know, do things. Like she doesn't need to do this because like she can't find another job. Like Haley has a master's degree in taxation. Like she's very, very intelligent, right? And so like she doesn't need this for anything else other than for like her own thing. And so like her story is that even though she's been successful in lots of different areas of her life, like if she can tell that vulnerable story of what it's like to sit at home and be crying because her husband works too much, right? And not feeling like she has her thing, then if she can tell that story and tap into that vulnerability, then she now reaches an audience that says, hey, I love your content, right? Like you're telling the story the way it is. And Haley and I've talked about it. Like, yeah, we have a long ways to go in different ways and aspects, which is why we want to do all these marketing calls, right? But at the end of the day, the more vulnerable, the more we can share of why we do it and, you know, what we can really tap into, the better, right? Because this is more about, I feel like whenever we're in business, as long as we're having fun and we're improving ourselves and we're learning, then heck, like we're headed in the right direction, and the money will be following right behind it, and the feelings of success, as long as we're consistent with it. So I know that like, okay, so it's almost like, you know, we've almost gone like an hour, and there's so many things that I'd like to cover, but really simply, as we go through like more and more of the training, I just kind of want to give you a quick sneak peek of kind of what I would like to kind of get through with you guys, so you kind of understand a little bit more of where we're going to be going with a lot of this marketing training, and really kind of helping you. If you've already noticed, like I'm not going to be doing a death by PowerPoint like marketing. I want your questions. I want your feedback. I'm going to be in Haley's Team ZYIA Babes Independent Reps like Facebook group. And so in here, ask marketing questions, like tag me in it, let me know. My assistant or member of my team or myself will jump in there, and we'll help answer those questions. But we're going to tap into like really what lights you up. We're going to talk into that. We're going to dive into the niche. A lot of people are like, well, my niche is other stay-at-home moms. And well, what's a psychographic? Like a psychographic is really simply like more about behaviors and interests and emotions that people are feeling. And we don't market to women who are 35 plus who have, you know, this amount of money and do this and have this many kids. No, we talk to women who feel like they want to have something more, right? And the more we can kind of tap into that emotion and the interest that they have, the better off our marketing will be. Okay, we'll dive into pain. I have kind of a system of how I walk you through this whole process. And we'll tap into all of that. We'll help understand that. We'll craft all of those different things. We'll help you understand why like you're different than any other ZYIA rep, right? Even beyond that, what makes your business different, what you can do to reach other people. And we'll craft some statements. We'll talk about where to put these statements, how to, you know, talk through all the stuff off of social media. And then once we kind of have the foundations in place, the fun part comes, and we'll start doing some storytelling principles of like how to actually create stories. So if you've seen Hot Rod, we'll watch some stuff there. There's a Rocky trailer we're going to watch. We're going to talk through narratives and how to tell those stories. All of this kind of stuff, how to create an offer inside of your content. And as we put all of that stuff together and we package it, within a matter of, you know, weeks of kind of putting that into practice, you'll start to see a difference. And like Lindsay, she went from one client a day to start getting one client per week to getting one client per day. And then she started running ads and she started building off of all of that in her business. And then now there's been days where we've had 11 new clients come in or 15 new clients come in because of these foundational marketing principles. So I know that like, you know, there's a lot of kind of like higher level overview and conversation here. But I hope that you can kind of see, and if we were to say one takeaway today, would be to really, really think about how you can move faster and like move past the fear, the perfectionism tendencies that we all have, the fears of being exposed or feeling like, holy crap, maybe we're doing too much and overthinking all of this, right? But if you step back and just keep telling stories, tell people about your day, tell them about, you know, the ups and the downs and why you love at the end of the day that you have something that you can work on and that you can be better, right? And to work on yourself. And that's what I love about, or at least what I've seen with Haley. And I love the fact that she took this leap and she jumped into this when she was uncomfortable and very nervous on her first Facebook Live, right? And even though it didn't even look like she was nervous, but like she was, and she did that post like 50 times because I was there, right? She did it over and over and over again prior to going live. And that's high velocity marketing. It's repetition. It's doing it faster, faster, and faster. And so I'm excited, guys, like to be, you know, doing more and more of these like trainings. And again, I'd love to cater this to your specific questions and needs. And so anything that you have, yeah, feel free to ask and to ask Haley either directly or in the group. And then Haley, just to kind of wrap things up, you like when you started with ZYIA, like we've had this conversation where I asked you, I said, if you didn't like live with a marketer, like what is the difference of like you seeing my clients and you seeing me always talk about marketing? What impact has that made in the way that you started your business? Because we've talked about how if you didn't have that background, how things might have been different when you first got started. I'd love to just hear your insight.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if I even would have started. Like, I'm really proud of everyone on here that did it and is just going for it. I've heard a lot of Dallin's trainings like multiple times. Sorry, but but like, yeah, I feel like just hearing Dallin say like, or teach people like, you just need to go live. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you just, I can he's like crying. But it helped.
Hey, Samson, what's up, buddy? All right. Well, guys, before we take off, let me just, if there's any like last questions or anything that like in future trainings, like you would love us to cover. I do have like a 12-week like training that I can go through. I'm just going to be kind of pulling like parts and pieces out specifically for you. But if there's anything that's like, I really need help with this, like some of the things I heard tonight were, how do I host like a successful party? What are some things that I can do? Like all of that kind of comes, to the fact that you need to have more leads and people to help, host those, and also like people to talk to. Well, how do you do that effectively without, like Haley said, being that annoying person from high school, right? That's reaching out to people. There's some really cool ways to reach people like that in a non psycho type of way. But any questions before we like wrap up tonight? Samson, do you have any questions?
Ocean is a friend of mine.
He's just playing with this thing over and over again. But thanks, Dallin. This is awesome. And I love also just like getting together as a team and doing these calls. So I'm excited to keep doing them. And yeah, ask any questions that you have. And let's finish this month out strong. Let's find some more people to host parties, and yeah.
Yeah, and as we go through this, like I have content calendars, I have templates, I have all sorts of like tools and resources and training materials. And like I said at the beginning of the call, like all of these calls will be recorded going forward. And so any of these that, let's say that you see another training and then you miss it, we'll make these all available for you. We just want to make sure that like, if you want to grow a team, you want to be really, really successful at this, then, I'm here to support Haley, and Haley is here to support you. And we want to make sure that we give you all the tools because you're on Haley's team and we want to take care of you. So, love you guys. And if you ever need anything, let us know. And we will see you in the Facebook group, and have a good rest of your evening. And Tia, we're super excited to have you on the team.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Can you say bye-bye? Say
Bye.
See you later, dude.
bye.
You guys have a good night. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good boy.